All right, continuing on, there was a survey done of 10,000 new car buyers in the Midwest, and the table gives the findings of what they found. So what we're going to do is fill in any missing spots. One of the things I do want to point out is that the probability column there is really the same thing as our relative frequency from back in chapter 2. Probability and relative frequency are kind of the same thing in terms of how you calculate them, especially, so you can think of them as very similar topics. So the first thing we need to do is figure out how many of those car buyers purchased a Mazda. We do have the total number of new car buyers, so that's helpful. So add up what's there. If everything goes according to plan, you should find out that we are 595 people away from 10,000. So that's the number that happens to be missing. And then for those probabilities, again, take the number who bought a certain model, whatever that model is, and divide by 10,000. And we're going to round to 3 decimal places. So 0.421, 0.280, 0.151, 0.088, and 0.060 by the time we round to 3 decimal places. Then in example 3, so back in the 1990s, Kristen Gilbert worked as a nurse in the ICU of a veterans hospital in Massachusetts. During her time there, 1,641 shifts were worked by the nurses and 74 patients died. Kristen Gilbert worked 257 shifts, of which 40 patients died during her shifts. Okay, so what we want to do first is find the probability a patient died during any one of the nursing shifts. Okay, so we want to take the number of people that died during any nursing shift and divide by the total number of nursing shifts. And we're going to keep the pretty standard, let's round to 3 decimal places unless told otherwise. So when you divide that out, you should get 0.045. Okay. Excuse me. What about the probability a patient died when Gilbert was working? Well, 40 people died while she was working out of 257 shifts for a probability of 0.156. Okay, so compare these numbers and discuss what they might mean. So when you look at those numbers, what goes through your head? Okay, hopefully you are noticing that maybe you don't want to be a patient at the hospital when Nurse Gilbert happened to be working. It seems, based on what we've got there, that patients are much more likely to die when Kristen Gilbert was working compared to when she wasn't. Or not even so much that she wasn't working, but compared to the overall death rate. Okay, and I think if you do it, I think it's about 3.5 times more likely that patients were dying on Kristen Gilbert's shifts by the way she was convicted of perhaps helping to murder her patients, just as a little FYI background story there. All right, that is the end of section 4.1. Pretty short, sweet, and to the point. So onward, section 4.2.